Okay guys, we're back with the second set of solving rational equations. We're still in proportion form. As you can tell, we have one fraction equaling another fraction. So we're going to do the same thing that we've been doing. We're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to take that times that and that times that. So I get W times W plus 7 equals 5 times W plus 3. So I'm going to multiply out. So I get W squared plus 7W equals 5W plus 15. Now, because I have a squared here and I have a quadratic, means it's a quadratic, I need to get everything on the same side, the equal sign. So I'm just going to move everything from this side, from my right-hand side of the equal sign to the left-hand side of the equal sign. So I'm going to subtract 5W and subtract 15. Subtract 5W, subtract 15. So then I get W squared plus 2W minus 15 equals 0 by combining like terms, yes? Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to factor. Okay, so I'm going to come just down here. I need two numbers that multiply to be negative 15 and add to be 2. Well, I know that 5 times 3 equals 15, and since this number, my 15 is negative, and my 2 is positive, that my bigger number is going to be positive, and my smaller number is going to be negative. So this is going to factor to W plus 5 times W minus 3 equals 0. So I have two things multiplied together that equals 0. That means one of those things has to be 0. So that means that I can write this as either W plus 5 equals 0 or W minus 3 equals 0. Okay, so now I solve for W. So subtract 5 and add 3. And I get W equals negative 5 or positive 3. Now I have two numbers to check to see if I have an extraneous solution. So I'm going to check negative 5 first. So I've got negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2, so that's good. And negative 5 plus 7 is positive 2, so that's good. Now I'm going to check the 3. So 3 plus 3 is 6, so that one's good. And 3 plus 7 is 10, so that one's good. So my answer is both of them. No extraneous solutions, so W equals negative 5 or 3. And then when you're doing it in Delta Math, if you have two answers, I just want to say you enter it just like this. You put negative 5, comma, and then it's going to come up another box for you to put the 3 in. So you should do negative 5, comma, and then that will be in one box, and it'll give you another box, and it will be 3, although most of you should already know that from entering other equations, but I just kind of wanted to go over that really quickly. So on to the next problem, number 6 here. Okay, so we're doing the same thing. Look, it's a proportion. We're going to do the same thing, cross multiply. Let's get a pencil though instead of a highlighter. Here we go. So I've got R times R minus 8 equals 4 times 5. So distribute R squared minus 8R equals 20. Everything needs to be on the same side of my equal sign. So I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. And I get R squared minus 8R minus 20 equals 0. So we're going to factor. I need two numbers that multiply to be negative 20 and add to be negative 8. Well, 4 and 5 definitely don't work. So what else multiplies to be 20? Well, 10 and 2, of course. And since this is negative and this one's negative, that means my bigger number is going to be negative. So 10 minus 2 is negative 8. That's correct. So this is going to factor to R minus 10 times R plus 2, and that equals 0. So I have two things multiplied together, just like on the last one. So that means that either R minus 10 is going to equal 0, or R plus 2 is going to equal 0. Solve for R. Plus 10 minus 2 minus 2. R is going to equal 10 or negative 2. And this one's easy to check because I just have an R There's nothing adding, subtracting to it. So if neither one of my answers is 0, I do not have an extraneous solution. So my answers are 10 and -2. Awesome. That was pretty easy. Okay. On to the next one. Okay, here we go. Number 7. So again, we're going to cross multiply. So this times this and this times this. So I got x plus 1 times x minus 12 equals x times -7. So multiply out. I get x squared minus 12x plus x minus 12 equals -7x. So bring everything to the same side of my equal sign, add 7x. And then I get x squared, add all my x's together. Let's see, 12x plus x is negative 12x plus x is -11x plus 7x is minus 4x minus 12 equals 0. So now I want to factor that. So give me two numbers that multiply to be -12 and add to be -4. Let's see. 3 and 4 do not work. Oh, 6 and 2. I think 6 and 2 are going to work. This one's negative, and this one's negative. That means the bigger number is going to be negative. So I've got x minus 6 times x plus 2 equals 0. So x minus 6 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0. So that means that x is going to equal 6 and -2. So now we're going to check it. We already know that for this one, both of them are okay because neither one of them is 0. So now we're going to check the second one here. And so I've got 6 minus 12 is -6, so that's fine. And -2 minus 12 is -14, so that's fine. So no extraneous solutions. There we go, 6 and -2. Awesome. Okay. Here we go, problem number 8 here. Okay, same thing, cross multiply. So I've got c plus 2 times c minus 1 equals 6 times 3. So distribute c squared minus 1c plus 2c minus minus 2 equals 18. Woo! I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides, and I get c squared plus c minus 20 equals 0. So give me two numbers that multiply to be -20 and add to be 1. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be 4 and 5. So this one's negative. This one's positive. So the bigger number is positive. So that means the 4 is negative. So I've got c minus 4 times c plus 5, and that all equals 0. So c minus 4 equals 0, and c plus 5 equals 0. So c is going to equal 4 and -5. So I need to check my denominator. So 4 minus 1 equals 3, so that one's good. And -5 minus 1 equals -6, so that's good. All right, remember I'm looking at to see why I'm checking is I don't want it to be 0. So we're both good, none of them are 0. So there we go, we're good. Okay, so here we go. I think this is the last one in this video, number 9. And then we're going to have you do some problems, and then we'll go on to the last 3. So here we go. Same thing, I still have a fraction equaling a fraction, so I'm going to cross multiply. So I've got 5 times k squared minus 1 equals 15 times 2k minus 2. Distribute. 5k squared minus 5 equals 30k minus 30. Okay. So now we want everything on the same side of the equal sign. So I'm going to subtract 30k and add 30. So subtract 30k and add 30. So I get 5k squared minus 30k plus 25 equals 0. And if you look at it, 5 goes into every single one of those. So I'm going to divide everything by 5. Okay, so my equation becomes k squared minus 6k plus 5 equals 0. So now I'm going to factor. Okay, what multiplies to be 5, adds to be negative 6. The only thing that multiplies to be 5 is 5 and 1. And this is positive, this is negative, so they both need to be negative. So I've got k minus 5 times k minus 1 equals 0. So k minus 5 equals 0, and k minus 1 equals 0. Sorry, I don't like that, so I'm going to fix this 5 here. K minus 5. So k is going to equal 5 and 1. So now we need to check. So we'll go ahead and check the 5 first. So I've got k squared, so that's 25 minus 1 is 24. So we're good. And 10 minus 2 is 8, so the 5 is good. Now we're going to check the 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0, so not good. And just because, we'll check the other one. 2 times 1 is 2, minus 2 equals, so the 1 is not good. The 1 is an extraneous solution. So my real solution here is just k equals 5, because 1 is extraneous. Does not work because it makes a 0 in my denominator. So we finally found an extraneous solution. It's okay. That's it. If it makes a 0 in my denominator, I can't use it. Okay, guys, go ahead, do some problems, and we'll see you back in a little bit for the last video on this section. Talk to you soon. Bye.